Good afternoon, everybody. Um, One quick reminder, turn off your phone and then listen to me and then turn your phone back on and rate me. I don't make the rules, I just follow them. That's all I do. Okay, so this is my talk. I'm just going to call it email lists. That's what I wanted to call it, but I knew nobody would want to show up, so thank you so much for attending this talk. That sounds so boring, so I really commend all of you for showing up. I swear, I love this stuff. It's really fun. I hope you like it just as much as I do. Okay, so I'm going to start the story Halloween 1989. That's me. I'm 9 years old. My mom made my tunic, and I'm Link, if you didn't guess, and my dad made my shield and my boomerang. I was a total Nintendo kid growing up. Like, I was almost a brand representative. And my Bible was Nintendo Power, and this is actually my original Nintendo Power, the one like I would just like pour a big old bowl of cereal in the morning and then just like spread that magazine open and play my Nintendo all day. And let me tell you, I loved it. It inspired my early artistic abilities. Like I actually like notice that I made her arm jet out. It was an artistic interpretation of Samus. It wasn't a straight up copy. Um, but I grew up and I became a UX designer, and I like to study how people use technology, what they find interesting about it, what they don't like about it. I also make my own games. My latest one is a top left one screen platformer. It's a platformer that takes place on one screen. I also write about marketing. I tell you how to market a game on my website, how to market a game. I try and keep things super dead simple, guys. Okay, so I try to fit it all down to 25 minutes. They only gave me 25 minutes for this talk. I couldn't do it. So you can get the director's cut of these slides at howtomarketagame.com/GDC 2019. All the slides are up there, even more. And you also get a free book if you go there. I'm serious, you'll get my free book. Okay, but now that I know all about marketing and technology and how to make a game, it occurs to me that Nintendo Power is just a giant advertisement targeting like the 6-year-old to 16-year-old demographic, and I was marketed to my whole life with this book. And you might say, like, God, this guy's life is a lie, and no, it wasn't. It was like one of the best times of my life, and what I want to show you today is how to like. The reason that it was so good was they weren't always marketing to you. They were along for the ride. Like they enjoyed this stuff as much as I did. Like they loved video games just as much as I did. And so what I want to teach you today is how to market your game so that a 9-year-old would want to draw it. And like that's what I'm here for. And you can't distribute magazines financially viably anymore, but the next best thing is email marketing. And I'm going to tell you today how that's going to work. But before I can get to the fun stuff, I got to start with the boring stuff, which is funnels. Um, I love postmortems. I read them all the time. This is a failed postmortem that was on Reddit, and the guy on Reddit said, "This is a commenter for this postmortem." He said, "I thought they quietly canceled the project until I saw it on Steam the week it released." And you're thinking, "Up, Indiepocalypse, there it is, Indiepocalypse." But it's not. This is an age-old problem that we've been facing for hundreds of years. And this man, Elias St. Elmo Lewis, wrote about this problem and how to solve it like way before television or the internet, radio, all of that. His theories really influenced marketing today. And his most important contribution is this. It's called a sales funnel. And the thing about the sales funnel is if you if you follow nothing I say today, you have to learn this. This is the most important thing you can learn because um, it's kind of like gravity or evolution. Even if you don't believe it, you are affected by this thing. So basically what a sales funnel is it just marks, it's a mental model of how people interface with your product as they get down the funnel, as they learn about it. So it goes from awareness to interest to desire to finally taking action, which is just buying your game. And I'm going to kind of chart the progression of somebody's face using this other magazine from my childhood, which was GamePro Mag. They use these characters to rate people. And the reason it's called a funnel is when somebody finds out about you, it's like they're being poured onto the top of the funnel and they kind of trickle down to the bottom. And so I'm going to the easiest way to explain it is actually just a story. So let's pretend this whole room, we're all together. This is about the team size of making a modern RTS, I believe. So we're all making an RTS together, and we are making this RTS for this person A. She's just somebody out there who doesn't know we exist, but she likes RTSs. She played them in her childhood and everything. But luckily we got caught up by Kotaku, and they like wrote a glowing preview of our game. We haven't released it yet. And she reads Kotaku every day and she sees it. And so she becomes aware of our game. And she reads the article and clicks the link that provided to our website where she reads like an FAQ and she learns about that game. She realizes this is an RTS. It's just what I like. This is interesting. So she's now in the interest phase. She finds out on our FAQ that we have a Twitch stream. We stream like 3 times a week on the money, and we like talk about DPS and what the units and the strategies and the maps, and she learns all about it. She watches it all the time, and she desires it now. She like thinks about this game like on her breaks, on her commute. She like, this is my game. I want this game. And then on the last day before we go live, we do like a 24-hour streamathon. Like all of us buy matching suits, and we're like doing something cool on the stream, and we like every half an hour say, go buy the game, go buy the game. And because she knew us, she learned who we are, and she liked us, she went and bought it like right away, day one. That's it, checkpoint. Like we had something, the reason this worked so well was we had something for her at every level of the funnel. Like we had a little piece of marketing everywhere. Like we got her in the top with PR, then we piqued her interest with our FAQ, we used Twitch to heighten the desire of the game, and then we had a launch stream to do the call to action to say go buy it. Now, the most important thing is everybody talks about like visibility. Seeing somebody on Steam and then going buy the game right away doesn't happen. Like nobody just sees it and buys it. It's like the only time that happens is gum at the checkout aisle. And that thing costs $1 and it's covered in sugar. It's the only time somebody sees something and then buys it. Exposure does not equal sales. And that's exactly what happened here with this Reddit commenter on that failed postmortem. Basically, they knew about it, they heard about the game, and they followed it a little bit, but then the developers dropped off and they didn't keep contact, and so they this person just lost interest and never bought the game. And why you need to think in funnels is like, this week you are gonna be like bombarded with so much information, there's no way you could do it all. So what you should do is you should classify this information about where it lives on the funnel. Like, oh, this is definitely a top of the funnel type of advice, or this is bottom of the funnel advice. It helps you just kind of like organize your marketing schemes. So, you know, we all know streamers and tweet a lot for the top. That's perfect top of the funnel stuff. But what goes in the bottom here? Like, what's the best way to do these bottom 3 funnel activities? What I'm actually going to show you is that email actually really fits this very well to do these bottom 3. So let's get into the fun stuff. This is where, like, this is the good stuff. Okay, let's go. All right. First off, if you guys are like streaming out the door, like this is not spam. I'm not saying we all become spammers or something. Spam is totally different. This is from Wikipedia. Spam is unsolicited, where they just like scrape your email address off a website and then they like send you tons of emails, and then hopefully one person will accidentally give away their bank account and then we steal all their money. That's spam. That is not what we're suggesting here. It's also not emailing the press. So a lot of people confuse that. Like, yes, if you market to the press using email, that's just marketing, but it's not, this is something totally different. This is where people, regular fans will join your mailing list, and it's all about consent. They choose to give you their email address, and you contact them, and then if they ever don't like your message, they can unsubscribe, and you just never, ever, ever contact them again. Again, it's all about permission. Sometimes this is called permission marketing, because they opt into your message. And typically it's run on stuff like MailChimp, ConvertKit. These softwares are your typical mailing list providers. And you might say, okay, well, I use Twitter. I'm doing pretty much the same thing with Twitter. And so here's 4 reasons why email is so totally awesome and much better than social media. Number 1 is you are not dependent on a big corporation to talk to your followers. 25 years ago, these were the hottest websites for talking to your fans. And if you built up a huge following on here, you lost all your money and all that effort to build up a fan base. And if you think like Facebook and Twitter are huge now and they're indestructible, they are highly toxic and they have a very rough user base. And your following could turn out to be turned off by those controversial messages that are being put out there. And it's happening today. Like Tumblr just changed the way they censor images and the way they allow people to post stuff. People are fleeing Tumblr. And just today, I actually just added this slide. MySpace just deleted 12 years of music. Oops, through some database migration. What a dumpster fire of all everybody's music that they posted on MySpace. Basically, don't let corporations control your fan base. You should do that. And you can do that through email marketing. Number 2 is, and this is counterintuitive, social media actually isn't good at getting your fans to act. Okay, so a marketing research firm surveyed a whole bunch of different companies and how their outreach did, and they averaged all their different communications based on response rates. And the way this graph works is if you theoretically had 2,000 followers on Twitter, 2,000 Facebook followers, 2,000 email list followers, and you just sent a message, how many of those people would actually like see that message? On average, only 40 of those 2,000 would actually see it through Twitter, whereas email gets about 435. Again, this is an average. And you're thinking like, well, that's general marketing. It's probably for like insurance and stuff. These are video games. This is a young audience. They're engaged, technologically advanced. It's not going to affect video games. So I wanted to test this theory. I had the same thought. So I found this guy, Pixel Jam Games. Go check out his game, Dino Run 2. He ran a successful Kickstarter last year. And the cool thing about him, the reason that's so interesting is he was so dedicated. He emailed his list and tweeted at the exact same time on the exact same day with the same call to action and the same images. It was like the guy was like a machine. And going into his Kickstarter campaign, he had 24,000 Twitter followers and 16,000 email subscribers. Almost half as many email subscribers. Just keep that in mind. So this is what happened. He emailed his list 5 times during his Kickstarter campaign. This is the first email. These are the number of clicks his messaging got. It's like an order of magnitude higher for email. And it just continues on from that way. This is throughout this campaign of all the emails and tweets that he sent. It's not even close. It's not like, hey, if you just add some emojis to that Twitter, it's gonna really pop it up there. Like, it's an order of magnitude lower, the number of clicks that he got from Twitter versus email. And number 3, you just have more functionality. When you use Twitter, you're just like barking out to all people at all levels of the funnel. Whereas email, you can control your message. And the best example of this is this indie studio called Butterscotch Shenanigans. They've released tons of games. And they had something really smart, like, okay, Crashlands was a big hit for them. But they had tons of earlier games that were not as popular. So they had this brilliant idea. And what they did was they created this secret unlockable side quest where you could unlock characters from their old games in Crashlands. And what the idea was that it would encourage people to go get that other game. And of all the people and then they ran this experiment. And what they did was for everybody that found this hidden character, half they got an in-game notification that, hey, this character is from one of our other games. The other half of the audience, they emailed them. And this email was awesome. This email contained like a description of who the character was, a description of the game that this character starred in, which was Quadrupus Rampage. And then at the very bottom, a link to go get it from the store. And what they found after this little experiment, an emailed player was 2.8 times more likely to go get the game. And what happens is, you're basically taking somebody from the bottom of the funnel of one game and just transfusing it like blood over to game B. Like that, you don't have to worry about getting top of the funnel, moving them all the way down. It's a lot easier to move an existing fan over to your next game. And number 4 is real simple. I'm just going to go through this real fast. Install base. Like, everybody's got email. You actually need an email address to sign up for Twitter and for Facebook and for Steam. Everybody's got an email address. There's no way they can say, well, I don't use Twitter or something. Okay, so I know I'm pitching for email here, but it's sounding pretty good for email. Like, there's a lot going on email's column here. I'll give virality to social media. But remember, virality is a very top of the funnel thing. It's like, even if you get tons of exposure, everybody's retweeting it, they're still just at the top of the funnel. They haven't found interest in your game yet. And we're all game designers here, and what's a dominant strategy? It's that thing where it's that awesome sword that all players go to just because it's so overpowered. Email is that overpowered dominant strategy. And we don't get a lot of breaks as indies, and when we get just a little bit of a break, we should double down on it. So let me show you how to actually use it and take advantage of this. And the way you do it is you actually should treat email like it's your fan club. Your biggest fans should be on your email list, and you should treat them like the prince and princesses that they are. So it's basically a 3-step process to get to work your email address. You drive traffic to your list, you build a relationship with that list, and then you market your game. So let's drive traffic to this list. Again, you use social media, which is like very top of the funnel, and you drive them to the list. But like, how do you get them actually joined? If you look on a lot of websites, you see this little tiny thing at the very, very bottom of their web page. It's this little tiny box, like we're afraid of it, like newsletter. Nobody is going to put anything in there. They don't know what's going on in there. The other thing I see are a lot of noble devs that say these pronouncements like, I only email you when I have a new game. And it sounds noble, like, oh, thanks, dude. But remember, the people who give you their email address love you. They absolutely adore you. It's like, what if you met a cool person and you gave them their phone number? And you get the phone number, you're like, hey, let's hang out this weekend. Isn't that cool? And they said, no, I'm only gonna call you when I need $20. And you're like, what the fuck? No, you're cool. Like, let's hang out next weekend. No, 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 no. You don't know when you're gonna hear from me. It could be 6 months, could be a year, 2 years. You don't know. Then you're gonna get it. It's $20. That's all you're gonna hear from me. It's like, who would be that weird friend? Don't do that to your fan club. The way you actually get people to join your email list is with a lead magnet. And it's just a little tiny freebie that you give in exchange for an email address. And you're thinking, bait and switch? No way. Who falls for that stupid stuff? No. If you've ever been to an office and worked in an office, the most popular person in the office was always the one with the candy jar on their desk. And the reason they were so sociable and popular was it's an icebreaker. I did that myself. Like, I'd go up and I kind of want some candy today. And then I'd kind of get in conversation. I realized they're actually a cool person and I enjoy their company. It's the same thing. Discoverability, and there's a whole discoverability day tomorrow. The biggest gap in game marketing is not visibility and discoverability, it's actually the interest. And all a lead mag does is bridge that giant gap from somebody being aware of your game to being interested in it. It just gets it over that little awkward period. So here's a couple examples. Stray Fawn Studios, they released the game Nimbatas. And what they did was a demo. And to get on the demo, you just signed up. You just gave your email address and you got on the demo. That's it. They got 50,000 subscribers to their mailing list because of that. You could also do stuff like give away your soundtrack. Say, hey, if you like our music, I'll email it to you. Just give me your email address. You can also do it within your game. In my game, Zombie King, all my bonus levels, where you got all this awesome gold, it was only available to subscribers of the email list. And it was hugely popular and people signed up for it. It's like a special thing just for subscribers. Okay, so you drove traffic to your list. Let's build a relationship with them. And the way you do this is with an autoresponder. And an autoresponder is built into anything like a MailChimp or any other service provider. And all it is just it's just a programmed set of emails that you pre-write. And so like when somebody joins a list on, let's say, Sunday, email 1 is automatically sent to them on Monday. And then you can program it so email 2 is sent on Tuesday and email 3 is sent on Wednesday. And you can change the duration and you can program it. It's like writing dialogue trees. And what you do is this is how you introduce yourself. Like one email might just be welcome, welcome. Another one might be tips for your game. And then you talk about your company. Another email might be about you. It just slowly introduces people. And the reason, this is kind of like Game of Thrones. Like I didn't get into it till like the 5th season or 4th, how many there are. I went back and I rewatched all the episodes in like one epic month. Your autoresponders like that. Like people probably are finding you for the first time, even though you released tons of games before. Your autoresponder will slowly introduce people. You can use it to say, hey, this was my game I released 4 years ago. This is my game I released 2 years ago. You can slowly introduce who you are and catch them up so that they're current with everybody else that's a fan of your games. And you might think, oh my God, that's a ton of emails. Who would ever open all that? This is my autoresponder for Zombie King. My most opened email is that one. When you have an autoresponder, you're slowly building a relationship with people and they like you more and more and more by the end of the autoresponder. So that's how you get people down the funnel. Your autoresponder hits the interest, desire, and action phase. That's what it's built for. So, okay, we drove traffic to our mailing list, got them to sign up, we built that relationship, now it's time to market. Let's fucking sell, sell, sell. Let's get them for every penny we've got. Just dig in, drop the money bomb. No, do not cash out on your mailing list. Do not. You built a relationship with these people, and you got to be gentle with them. So we practice something called give, 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 ask. And basically what it is for every one email that you send that says like, go buy our game, or it's on sale, that's a call to action, you've at least done 3 other emails that are just content, just interesting stories. They don't even have a link to go buy anything. They're just cool stuff. And this is the way you should treat your mailing list. Like you're just this little present wizard who's dropping presents to all the boys and girls. Like that guy's in the desire phase right there. That's what you do. That is what your mailing list should look like. And this is exactly what Nintendo Power did. Like all their stuff is like comics, they had maps, they had cheat codes, and like that middle map of Metroid is what sold me on the game. Like somewhere in there is something called an ice beam. I didn't even know what an ice beam was, but I knew I had to have that game because somewhere in that game I could find the ice beam. Like that is what sells people on the game. And a perfect example of this is what KitFox did for their Boyfriend Dungeon Kickstarter on their email campaign. Now, full disclosure, I consulted with them on how to do this for their Kickstarter. But what they did was, it's a game about dating weapons and dungeon fighting. But the most attractive thing, of course, are the dateable weapons. And so what they did was they did a series of weekly emails written by each of the dateable weapons. And each week you got a different love letter from each one. And it told about that weapon, it told their backstory, it told about the game. It slowly built it up in the story of them from the standpoint, from the viewpoint of these dateable weapons. So each one was just luxurious. And here are the results of that. Dear KitFox, their community manager, Victoria, got this email from one of the subscribers to the mail list. I signed up for the newsletter and I never got the Isaac one, and I would like to because I love these character love letters. So could I maybe be resent one? Show of hands, has anybody ever received an email asking to be marketed to more? Like, does somebody say, like, please tweet at me, more tweets? Like, no. But if you write this in an engaging way, people love it and they will engage with you and your content. And I mean, that's pretty hot. Like, that is totally hot. Like, when St. Elmo Lewis was talking about the desire phase, he had no idea. Like, like, this is pretty amazing stuff, right? Okay, so this is your fan club. Treat it one. And the biggest myth people ever said, like what the biggest tale the devil ever told was that people don't want your email. I get emails all the time from indies that are like, a very rare dispatch, or I hope you don't mind getting this email, or I'm invading your inbox once again. This is the emails that KitFox crew sent for their Kickstarter. They sent 6 emails. I'm also graphing the unsubscribe rate. And if you can't see that, I'm gonna zoom in right here. That 1 pixel is the unsubscribe graph. 2% of people unsubscribe from their emails, despite emailing them almost once a week. People love this stuff if you write it correctly. So I'm gonna kind of wrap up here. This is story time. This is me, again, 9 years old, loving Nintendo, dressed as Link. 2 years ago, I had my own son. My wife and I had our first child, and you know, you spend a lot of time just like looking at this sleeping kid, and I'm wondering, like, am I gonna write this? Am I gonna someday make a shield for my son or make him a little Link outfit? I don't know. But I had to work really hard to get Zombie King out. And this is the first game I used this marketing scheme on, this email marketing plan. And I got it out 1 month before before he was born, because I knew, like, okay, once he's born, dev time's over for a little while. And so while I was doing it, it turns out actually you can do some like answering support emails while the kid sleeps, because he sleeps all the time and he's trying to get to sleep and eat all the time. And this is an email from somebody who was on my mailing list, and I always subscribe. I always reply to them anytime. He said, "Great work on the game. My son and I are loving Zombie King. I was initially very apprehensive, but subsequent emails from you have been good and useful and true to your word that you haven't turned into a spam engine." I told you guys. Come on, I told you. Anyway, then I replied back to him immediately, because any good dev would, and I said, "Thanks for your kind words. I think it is so cool that you play with your son. My first child was actually born on Wednesday. Can't wait for him to be old enough so I can play games with him." And then this guy emailed me back, and he said, "Blank is a big fan of your game and gets the concepts well enough. As with most games these days, he owns me and shows me how it's done." And the reason I blanked out his name, that guy's name, is my reply was, "What a coincidence. My son's name is the exact same. He's actually in my arms as I type this." It's like, what kind of freaking weird marketing scheme is this? Where I'm like, I'm having dad time with one of my fans. Like, I'm having a bonding moment with somebody. Like, how many times have you learned that your son like has the same name as one of your fans? Like, I've done this a long time. I've tried Twitter. I've tried, you know, talking to the press and stuff. But oh my God, nothing has ever worked where I'm like bonding with my fans. And the reason is because it's a one-to-one communication with email. It goes to their inbox. It's one person to one person. And if you do this right, if you're genuine, you communicate with people in a kind way, you're going to connect with them. And that's all this is all about. This isn't cross marketing, like upping your CPMs or ARPUs or whatever. It's just connecting with people. And that's what I'm trying to teach you all with this email stuff. This is the best mechanism for doing it. You can follow me on Twitter down there. I mean, whatever. And then how to market my game. Again, I put the director's cut up there. Whoops. Oh, and there's my desktop. But anyway, let me play this again. But you can just get more information about that there. I don't know how much time do we have. Are we done? It's the end of the day. 5 minutes of questions. Let's go for it.
In the meanwhile, let's give him a warm thank you for the talk so far.
Hi, thanks so much for the talk. I was wanting to do a question about your unsubscribing. So I had on my email list, I was trying to send pretty frequent emails, and I got very, very mixed signals about how often emails were to be sent. So some people actually were unsubscribing a lot. And then I just asked some friends who were on the email, it's like, how often, am I emailing too often? And some of them said, absolutely, like, I'm getting way too much, I don't want this much. And then other people like you, some consultants were saying, no, you just email as much as you're gonna email, and if they unsubscribe, they unsubscribe. So can you just maybe comment about that a little bit more?
Yeah, up your content game. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Like, basically, here's what I do. Like, for myself, I try and email every 3 weeks. And the reason I do that, and I don't want to get into this, is a whole nother, like, talk, but Google actually rates your emails based on how frequently you send, and they actually, they reset your good sender score after 3 weeks. So if you don't email for 3 weeks, it kind of resets your like credit score, and that's in a bad way. So if you're sending quality content that people are opening, and you keep doing that, it actually builds your reputation if you do it every 3 weeks. And I know that sounds frequent, but you just got to send like awesome stuff. Like maybe and I don't know what your emails are, and I could actually talk to you afterwards. Again, you guys can contact me anytime this week, and I will answer stuff. I love this stuff. I will talk to you at any time, so you can interrupt me, but at any time while I'm walking around. I'd have to look at them, but sometimes it's just like, just give them cool stuff. That might be better. The important thing is you don't want to just sell, sell, sell. And so that's often a problem that will cause unsubscribes. So, but yeah, I'd be happy to check and see what you did. Next.
Hey, so what is your best way to get people to your email list? I don't know if you have statistics for that, but like, would you put that box at the top of your website, your social media marketing?
Yeah, a lot of ways. Here's one of the best ways I would say is like on a trailer. At the end of the trailer, say something like, and again, advertise your lead magnet. You'd be amazed. Just adding a lead magnet will just boost like like by an order of magnitude how much more subscriber rate you get. So like at the end of your trailer, say, hey, if you like this art, get the free art book, sign up for our mailing list, and we'll email you this cool concept art. Just doing that, hit them where they are. You can also, like on social media, pin your tweet. I pin a tweet that just says, hey, if you want more information, go get this game on there. But also forums, all kinds of stuff. And within your game is also a good way of doing it, just because your fans are in there. So those are some ideas.
So you compared emails to Facebook, Twitter, other social media, but I was wondering if you had any thoughts on Discord, because that seems to be like the big up and coming community engagement tool.
I have not tested Discord, but there's something fundamental about email because people always check their email and it doesn't scroll. Like people are pretty good about keeping their inbox clean, and just that natural ability will cause them to open and click on more emails. The other thing is, for some reason, just psychologically and the way the software works, when people are in email mode, they're thinking buying stuff for some reason. When they're in Discord and social media, they're just hanging out with friends. It's like a cocktail party. And that's why it doesn't always work to advertise within social media, because it's like you're coming into somebody's cocktail party and saying, hey, buy this drink. You like Tito's alcohol, you're gonna like this one. You're kind of crashing somebody's party in social media. But email is all business, and they're willing to like pay for stuff. That's just a hunch, but I feel like Discord is also more in the party side of things. But that's just a hunch. I haven't tested it. If anybody has data, please email me.
I had two questions. We'll see if I can sneak in both. But the first one is about the content of the email and getting rated by Gmail as a promotional email. And I wonder whether you feel like, oh yeah, you should be sending emails that are mostly not rated as a promotion, or whether, no, you should be in the promotion tab just so everybody understands, yeah, I'm trying to sell you something, but I'm trying to talk about myself at the same time.
You want to get out of that promotion tab as fast as you possibly can. There's a whole GDC talk just about how to get out of the promotional tab, which they probably wouldn't approve because they think this stuff's boring. But basically about the promotional tab, the best way is to send short emails that don't have many links and don't have many images. One of the worst things you can do is, I see a lot of people who won't write their newsletter for like 6 months, and then they talk everything that studio has been doing for 6 months, and it's all these pictures, all these links. That hurts your Gmail score because spammers and marketers typically load stuff up with images and links. Keep your emails very short and simple, and just talk to them like they're human. Don't try and sell. Hey, I just got something new. Talk in first person, like one way that I typically write my emails is I imagine I'm writing to my best friend about my game, and then I just send that to everybody, all of my subscribers, and that does amazingly well. You don't want to be a formal, like press release style writing. It's very conversational. And again, it's like a one-to-one communication. And a lot of times, other tricks you can do is you can ask a question, just like, hey, what's your favorite game? If they reply, it tricks Google, and they say, who would ever reply to a spam message? This can't be spam. This is take it out of the promotional tab and put it in their main tab. That's why when that person answered and said, hey, could you please send me that missing Isaac email? Google was like, this is a quality email. Who would respond to a marketer's email? And so your whole game, when you get into email marketing, is trying to get out of the promotion tab and into the real inbox.
When you're doing that, MailChimp will let you use your branded colors and your company logo in your header of your email. It sounds like you were like, no, don't do that. It's a feature, but turn it off. Just send plain white background, Arial text, no branding.
A little bit of branding, but the thing is, I found I subscribe to all of your email addresses, all your email lists. By the way, I just go through and just try and collect as much data as I can. If I don't hear from you a while, I forget who you are. You're like Sparking Monkey Studios. I don't remember your games. I don't remember your branding as much. But the thing I do remember are your games. So what I do for my games is I always do like a headline image, just like a header image of the game, whatever game I'm promoting or whatever. And that's more triggering than your studio logo. I know you worked really hard on your studio logos, but they kind of blend together. The more important thing is I just do one big reminder image of the game I'm promoting, and then a link with a call to action. Okay, last question.
All right. So I'm subscribed to a lot of newsletter that I like, and I subscribed because I wanted to. But usually when I get to my email, I'm looking for something specific, in a specific email that someone sent me. So there's a lot of newsletter emails that I think would be nice, but I kind of just don't read sometimes. So is there anything that we could do to not make people ignore your newsletter? Like, oh, that's nice. I'm gonna read that later, and that later never comes.
Well, like I was saying, give, and the fact that you're like a little present wizard, like you want to give gifts that people, when they see the subject line, are like, yes, I want that. So one of the first things, like when you sign up for my newsletter within my game, one of the first things I email you is like, here's a tip on how to get more gold. And they're like, yeah, I do want to know how to get more gold. I am definitely opening this. That's like what I mean by a gift. Or like if you've got a really complicated game, like, hey, download this tech tree. That could be like the subject line. Like, hey, you like the tech tree for my game? And then they open it and they see like a whole tech tree that you've like helped them. Like that's what all Nintendo Power was. Like just buy a copy of Nintendo Power and just flip through it. Like all these pages of like maps and cheat codes, that's the stuff that people want. So if you just put that in the subject line and say, open this email to get that thing, they're gonna be like, yes, that's exactly what I need right now. So you're just giving good things that will help them with your game. So it's easier if you have a very complex game. But I hope that answers. I will talk about this forever. So even though there's no more questions, if you want to meet me out there, I will talk to you all week. You get a free pass on this stuff. So thank you very much. Thanks for coming.